The Tommy Robinson story continues, and it centers around his controversial arrest yesterday under the Terrorist Act 2000. Now, the problem with the Terrorist Act 2000 is it means that unlike a normal arrest, Tommy Robinson can now be held for, I think it's 14 days. So he can be held for 14 days rather than 24 hours. And I assume that's why the police use the Terrorist Act, because to think of Tommy Robinson as being a threat to our national life and a terrorist is simply absurd. He's a threat to people that he talks about, and he talks very convincingly and persuasively in his video. I've looked at the video. It's quite a well edited video. It could do with some editing. It could do with trimming significantly. And at the beginning, he apologizes to all the people that he's recorded with a hidden microphone and a hidden camera. But those recordings are very interesting because they reveal that when people are off their guard and faced with this very charming, very affable individual, they will spill the beans, and they will say, sorry, I've been made to sign an NDA. I can't officially say anything, but here's what it is. Because NDAs don't work. NDAs are another malicious abuse of the legal system, used by businesses, schools, media outlets to silence those people who might otherwise compromise the idiocy that dominates the rule of these organizations. And it's very difficult to resist those NDAs. It's very difficult. In the end, I think the NDA as a concept needs to be destroyed. As for Tommy Robinson, well-known figure, involved in far-right activism, arrested ahead of a scheduled court appearance today, related to a documentary that he produced, over which there's an injunction in the UK. It was released in the US, and I think it's the same documentary that was put out on Saturday in Trafalgar Square. I believe it's the same documentary that I've had a look at. The arrest has sparked significant backlash among his supporters, leading to spontaneous protests in Downing Street. And meanwhile, the Metropolitan Police have said that they were not responsible for his arrest, indicating the involvement of another police force or some other sinister organization. The use of the Terrorist Act, which allows for extended detention periods, seems a heavy-handed measure, and it seems to be there to send out a signal that there's a broader message of deterrence. Stop these discussions. But actually, Tommy Robinson's film is quite well mannered. It needs a trim, but don't we all? And he needs media guidance, I think. But he makes a lot of valid points. I think he's wrong with his overall assumptions. He has a bee in his bonnet about Islam. I think that bee is misplaced. I think instead he should be targeting individuals who happen to be Muslim. They could be any. They could hold any belief. They could have been brought up in any system. These are aberrant individuals whose sense of social belonging is missing somehow. And I think his editing of the Quran is deeply misplaced. But it is interesting, and I find Tommy a thoughtful, intelligent, and a committed individual. I think he's wrong. I know a number of people who like him or have liked him, and I respect their opinion significantly. I don't think he's the bogeyman that he's painted out to be, and I find the massing of our police and our systems to silence him very, very spooky indeed. I don't think he's the threat that he is painted to be. I think the tensions, the large numbers of Robinson's supporters gathered in protest at what they perceive as unjust treatment, the suppression of free speech. It's difficult not to agree. The situation highlights the complexities and the controversies surrounding Robinson, his supporters, and the authorities' response to his activities. And as events continue to unfold, the focus remains on how law enforcement suppresses individuals and suppresses the right to free speech. And that's all that's being put forward here. I also think, incidentally, that Tommy Robinson has acquired a martyrdom complex, which is misplaced and foolish. He is not Alexei Navalny. But equally, the British government is making him significantly more important than I think otherwise he would be. And he knows that. He knows that. But people come on here, and I look at the comments sometimes, and I think you have no idea. You haven't listened to my video, and you think I'm just taking a sort of tribal position, and simply because you identify me as being on the left, I would consider myself to be in the centre. You think I don't like Tommy Robinson. I am essentially a disenfranchised conservative. I'm not a socialist, but neither am I a far-right supporter. I don't approve of the far-right. And I consider the far-right begins in the Conservative Party, incidentally, just so you know. And I would love to know where I could find a political home. And I've had conversations with a lot of people from both the Conservative Party, the New Labour Party, the Lib Dems. I have friends in all of these parties, and I salute the activism of people who put themselves forward for political office, but absolutely, no matter what the colour. But I feel without a home, and so the tribal jeers that turn up repetitively in the comment section. I mean, somebody said the other day that 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 A, that I'm a socialist, and B, that I made videos excoriating Nigel Farage for his banking crisis. Actually, I supported Farage in his banking crisis. So simply because you see a title on the video feed doesn't mean that I'm following some sort of team rah-rah-rahing for a particular group. I'm not a team player. And in this case, I'm significantly more supportive of Tommy Robinson than I am in opposition to him. Sorry if that disturbs people, and I'm sorry if that rocks the boat, but I think he is inappropriately pursued by the police and the legal system in Britain, and for no particular reason. I also think that a lot of the points he makes in his video maybe in need of better editing, maybe perhaps imprudently put forward, are interesting.